All reports say that there is a contract extension on the table for Darren DeVries, but it's not been signed yet. Why is that? Well, we'll talk about it next on Locked On West Virginia.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, guys? Welcome back in, guy. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host here on Locked On West Virginia. I'm going to be brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets. Win that first $5 bet wins, but you can only do it at FanDuel.com. Go there today to get started. And thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen of every single day, guys, and for being part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We talk about your team, the Mountaineers, every single day. Okay, so talking about this situation here, sources close to the situation have told me, and somebody sent me something over from Mike Casazza as well. I wasn't able to figure out if this was something they posted on the site or on the message board because I don't have access to ears. But nevertheless, this coincides with what some stuff I've been told, but I wasn't going to go with yet until there was some reporting on it. Now that Casazza has put some stuff out on it, I want to talk about it because, well, like you kind of like he was saying in there, you kind of want to put the games first and what the players are doing first, even though knowing this is kind of going on behind the scenes, it's hard to decipher when and when not to report on certain things because I don't want to take away from the team, but at the end of the day, I don't think I have that kind of platform where I can do that. So, all reports indicate that Darren DeVries and Wren Baker have discussed a contract extension behind closed doors, which is very normal for a guy that's had success in year one or maybe being poached by other programs. And it's also very normal for it not to be signed. And Mike Casazza did a really good job kind of going over exactly what that looks like. And I made a bullet points based off his bullet points, kind of how I interpreted it. And so I am going to talk about those real quick. But first, let's get to, obviously Darren DeVries' little girl had a game yesterday or the day before. I can't remember exactly the date, but it was the game against Spring Valley. So, which is the number 2 team in the state, the number one versus number 2. No, that's the next game against Spring Valley. This is on Friday, I believe. So, either way, Wren Baker was there with Darren DeVries, and then there's a picture taken of that, which I will share with you really quick, thanks to my buddy Jerry West, who is, not really Jerry West, but that's what he goes by over here on X. So let me share that with you really quick. And for those of you listening on podcast, this picture is out there. Although that's grainy as all get out. That is the picture of them sitting together, Tucker, Darren, and of course, Wren Baker doing his job as the athletic director, trying to get Coach DeVries to stick around, obviously re-recruiting him, letting him know how much he means to the program and those kind of things. So that's just the way it is as an AD these days. You have to re-recruit these guys sometimes. And, from what I understand, that these two get along famously. Very, very, very obviously Wren Baker hired him, gave him his big shot here at West Virginia. So there's a lot there that it makes a lot of sense, right? Of course, you look at that and it makes total sense that he would be close with Wren Baker because you don't get your big shot every day. And so a couple of things here, obviously it's, this is basing it off of Mike Casazza. I want to make sure he gets the proper credit, but, and also I have been, like, you guys know, I talk to people in that circle as well. And I have been getting some things about this, but not as much as what Mike put out. So I would rather base it off what he said here. After Iowa lost in the Big Ten tournament, obviously they knew the Iowa job was likely going to come open. And West Virginia expected Iowa to reach out. This is something they've been preparing for, with the belief that Darren would be receptive to that interest. But from the people I've talked to, and this is talking about on both sides here, they felt since I first brought this up as a what if 6 months ago, that he was probably not interested based on the financial state of the Hawkeye program. Now, if something changes there, if they say, hey, look, we can guarantee you this, and this, because they got money. It's not like they don't have enough. Like I think somebody pointed out, they got a wrestler that's making $5 million. Obviously, they were paying Caitlin Clark $1 billion. Like, they've got money. It's just it's going to other places. Can you bring in a guy to resurrect the program and get donors on their side? It's a question nobody knows the answer to just yet. Maybe bring in a Ben McCollum, and then maybe that's the answer for them, because he's right there with Darren DeVries. Like, they're 1A and 1B from everybody I speak to. So, and we're going to talk about the seeding here for West Virginia tonight. There is some stuff out there on that as far as where is West Virginia going to place in the NCAA tournament, if at all. It's definitely gotten worse, but we'll talk about that. And also in one of the later segments, we're going to talk about Rich Rod and his cut down to 105. Skylar Callahan did a really cool article trimming it down, and I want to see exactly who he has left on the roster and off the roster. So we're going to do that too if we have time. But also, like I said, they believe that there was going to be receptiveness from Darren. Why wouldn't he be? Obviously, if you can go home and get the same things you're getting in West Virginia, there's no difference, right? And you're playing in an easier league. Now, West Virginia's probably got better facilities. They probably got better amenities at this point in time. They definitely have more NIL money and fan support. So those are all the strengths on the West Virginia side here. Iowa is home. And so if Iowa can bring up or match what West Virginia is offering, then we're going to be in a bad shape here, I think. But at this point in time, I feel good about him staying. West Virginia has extended a contract offer, which, according to what I've been seeing here, is a big raise and an extra year. So we'll see, and that's also per Mike Casazza. So that's pretty impactful. I think that's it's going to make it harder for Iowa to match rather than a McCollum, right? Somebody that's going to cost way cheaper, that may be the same level of coach. I really do think McCollum is in that category of DeVries. He's in that realm. I have a lot of I like McCollum a lot. Let's just say that. Not more than DeVries, but I do think that we could do worse than McCollum if he doesn't go to Indiana. And that's the other thing. I think he's been brought up for Indiana as well. We'll see what happens. Iowa's buyout situation is $4.2 million over 3 years. If McCaffrey retires, they might avoid paying that, but there's no indication that that's going to happen. And so here's where things kind of get a little bit better. West Virginia is prepared to keep DeVries long-term, offering us, and this is verbatim, offering a solid contract and backing from donors to ensure that he remains at West Virginia. DeVries is seen as a critical part of the future for West Virginia basketball, and the school's effort to retain him reflect this. And there are several donors on the West Virginia side that are also prepared to make this thing go for Darren DeVries going forward. And then at the end, a couple names that Mike threw out are Jared Calhoun and Nico Medved. Very interesting names that I wouldn't be too happy with. I get it. Like, he's a West Virginia guy. But other than that, man, like, I don't know. I think that there are a couple other guys that I would be a little happier with. So thanks to Mike Casaz over at Ear Sports. I haven't spoken to him today, but I want to make sure he gets credit for all that reporting there, because it's not mine. Although I can say that I've been told similar things from people close to that situation. I'm probably not getting it from anywhere near the same place that Mike is. But, my stuff is, I can't say, unfortunately. So I would love to. It would definitely validify some things I have to say about it, but I can't. So it is what it is. Let's go to a quick break. On the other side of that, we'll talk a little bit more about this. I have one other thought, and then let's talk about West Virginia basketball, which is what what I really would rather focus on, to be honest, but this has got to be talked about. Where are they going to land in the tournament? Because it's really getting hairy for us, guys. We'll stick around and we'll find out why. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia is going to be brought to you by Nissan. We're all about the stats here at Nissan because numbers never lie. And when it comes to the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X, the numbers are on an MVP level. With the ability to tow up to 8,500 pounds, it could quite literally carry the whole team like Javon Small has this year, plus the gear wherever you go. Powered by a twin-turbo V6 engine, delivering the strength and performance to handle highways, back roads, law school hill, and everything in between. And with room for up to 8 people, the Armada Pro 4X is built for big crews, big adventures, and even bigger memories like that Kansas game. Whether you're exploring off-road trails or rolling up to the arena, the Armada Pro 4X brings power, versatility, and style wherever you go. Take your adventures to new heights in the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X. Learn more today, guys, at nissanpro.com. And we also going to bring this one to you from FanDuel. March Madness is here. FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets. That's if you win that first $5 bet. $200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories, and even who's cutting down the nets. I have a few favorites, a few underdogs this year that I'm going to be looking at on FanDuel, guys. And I put our bracket together, by the way, was going to segue right into my bracket challenge. But we got to wait and see on that. Visit FanDuel.com and get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. Well, it's segment 2. And you know what we do in segment 2s around here, guys. We crack dues. Used to crack skulls, now we crack dues. All right. I'm so addicted to the Mountain Dew. All right. Where do I want to go here? So before we move on really quick, I am going to be doing a bracket challenge. We've done it several years in a row. We did it when it was Mountaineer Paul Talks Football. Now we've moved on and Locked On. Still going to do a bracket challenge. So those of you that are in Discord, we'll have an easier way into this. We'll figure it out. What we did last time was we kept track of everybody that sent in their little $5 pledge or whatever it was. We had a running list of names that we would share with everybody. And then live on the air, what we do is we go to one of those websites where it's random, like on a Wheel of Fortune type deal. And then we just spin it live. And it'll land on somebody. And that's who, you know, that's I think that's how we figured it out. If it was like that was the tiebreaker or whatever, if there was or something like that. Obviously, if you just win the bracket challenge, then you win. But like we do have a running list of names that we put on the Ferris wheel, like if it's ever close or tied or anything like that. So that'll be something to check out if you guys are interested in it. We had fun with it in the past. It was cool. We paid out pretty good money to a couple people, like several $100s. So, you know, and it can be more depending on how many people actually play. So we'll talk about that another time, though, as the seeding comes in. Let's talk about West Virginia and where they stand in this. The most recent projections as a few hours ago have West Virginia, the loss of Colorado, really starting to hurt the Mountaineers, as some other teams have come in and won games, made things interesting. The Texases, the North Carolinas, that kind of made a little push down the stretch. Although their resumes just aren't better than West Virginia's, the name Texas and North Carolina carry weight. And I think it's going to, you know, we have the same record as them. But when you break them down, it's like really not close. But at the end of the day, guys, I don't trust people when we're in their hands. We get screwed. That's just the way it is. We don't have the name power against the Texas or North Carolina. So we'll see what happens. But Jerry Palm obviously has West Virginia projected to play Boise State in the first 4, guys. That's one heck of a drop from the 9 seed, 8 seed. I saw an 8 seed for one person, all the way to the first 4. I mean, we'll take it. But our team being so thin, obviously that was like the last thing we really wanted to do, was play a first 4 game. I personally think that would be a slap in the face, consider what we've done this year. But if we got to do it, we got to do it. You got a shot if you're in, right? And that's the last thing we want to do. And here's another thing, guys. Drake's going to be in the tournament, right? At least I'm pretty sure they are. I haven't checked here today, but I'm certain they're going to be in based on their record. Um, if that's one candidate that's going to be in the tournament playing, and Darren DeVries will be wide open with nothing going on, that's not good either. I don't want that. I want West Virginia to be playing and playing and playing so nobody can come for him at all. That's just how I feel about it. So while West Virginia's and look, like I said, the loss of Colorado does hurt. So that would put us in the Midwest region, I do believe. And that's the same region where he has Houston, Illinois, Michigan, Texas A&M, Memphis, which was who we would play if we ended up winning the playing game. You got Wisconsin in that region and Tennessee. So some really good teams, even St. Mary's in that region. I'm not too. Actually, Memphis would be a good matchup for us, in my opinion, in that one. But and then Lunardi has us in the field as well, from what I saw earlier. Let me go over to Joe Lunardi's newest thing really quick and see what it's looking like. Joe Lunardi. So somebody has an X account called Joe Lunardi's hair. People come up with the funniest names for these. All right. So as of 48 minutes ago, we have, oh boy, this is scary. Last four buys, even as 48 minutes ago. This is, listen, he don't miss, guys. Lunardi does not miss. Just I've never seen him miss. So he's got the Big 12 with 8. So Auburn has locked up the number 1 overall seed regardless of today's results. Florida-Alabama winner should be the 4th and final number 1 seed. That's interesting. St. John's can solidify a number 2 seed by winning the Big East Championship tonight. No change in seeding yet for Auburn, Tennessee, or Michigan State or Wisconsin outcomes. Colorado State is an automatic qualifier at this point as the highest remaining Mountain West seed, bumping Carolina out. Wow. Boise State drops to last team in, making its Mountain West title matchup an elimination game. The bubble will gain a spot if and when Colorado State, Boise State loser drops out of the field. Indiana has been reevaluated and moved ahead of North Carolina and Texas to first team out. Bid Steelers, certainly Memphis, which is in the American, probably VCU, Atlantic 10, and possibly UC San Diego, Big East, Big West, would shrink the at-large pool with losses today or tomorrow. He's got, let's see, what on the bubble, last 4 buys, Oklahoma, Arkansas, West Virginia, and Utah State. Last 4 in is Vanderbilt, San Diego State, Xavier, and Boise State. First 4 out are Indiana, North Carolina, Texas, and Ohio State. A who's who, a literal who's who of brands. Holy crap, guys. Next 4 out, Dayton, UC Irvine, North Texas, and Wake Forest. SEC going to break the all-time mark at 13. It just makes me sick to my stomach. I'm not going to lie. It really does. I mean, you can call me a hater, call me a taterade, whatever you want. It just makes me sick that they're going to get 13 in. I mean, they've already got everything. You know, it's just ridiculous. Anyway, they had a great year. Can't deny that. It's just, you know, it's weird how NIL is hurting them in football, but it's helped them in basketball. So it's kind of evened things out in some ways. So West Virginia in the last 4 buys, which would put us just in, right? That would take us out of a play-in game. Super interesting there. I wonder who he's got us matched up against. I haven't seen. Let me see if I can see his bracket. So 3 hours ago, let's see what he had 3 hours ago. Has it changed? No, he had us in the last 4 buys 3 hours ago as well. So obviously this is changing right up to the very end, but a lot's going to happen according to Lunardi, for us to drop out of here, guys. So that's great news. I mean, look, we could have it worse than one of the last 4 buys, right? So I would love to not be in a region with Duke or Houston. It's probably really, really obviously wishful thinking on that. But I mean, look, you got to at least try, at least hope. I do think if we get in the right region, we can make a run still. I believe that was on my heart. And we'll see. Like at the end of the day, I know we're going to get everything from this coaching staff, and not only this coaching staff, but from these players. So really impressed with them guys. I do think that I've had time to look at what we did this year. I still feel proud of the team. The Colorado loss put a stain on the year, absolutely, but it looks like they're going to have a shot, at least a shot, to make everything right again. For those of you just joining, we'll go to break. On the other end of the break, I'll recap what we talked about earlier with DeVries and the contract. We'll even go back over what we just talked about here for a quick second. But I do want to get to the article about cutting down to 105 and who might we have off the football roster as well. Stick around for that, guys. This is Locked On West Virginia. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia is going to be brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Well, I do that all the time because of my do habit. Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you just stop managing your money and start building your wealth. When I started using Monarch, I realized how much I was spending on DoorDash, guys, and it was an incredible amount. I remember I looked at it and it said, you have saved $190 on DoorDash in the last week, and I was like, that means I'm spending a lot of DoorDash, right? And I had to really rethink it because I was justifying to myself, eating, groceries are so expensive. Like, that's what I was telling myself. I actually do use Monarch Money, and it's helped me really get a grip on my finances, guys. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money and use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. It's segment 3. No Dr. P, but I am going to crack a dew again because I'm thirsty. All right, so for a recap, I got sent some stuff over because I don't have a subscription to Ear Sports, but somebody sent me some stuff Mike Casaza put out about Darren DeVries and the contract talks and how that has gone and how it remains unsigned, because at the end of the day, it's common practice. It's just common practice, guys, for contracts to be put off, right? It happens all the time during the season. And for whatever reason, that's what's going on here. It has nothing to do with interest in the job. It has nothing to do with not liking the job or anything like that. It just really is like, we'll put the business off till after the season's over until this is done here, what we're focusing on. Because look, what if you win the national championship? Signing that contract might not have been a good idea, right? Even though that's out of the realm of possibility for us fans, Darren DeVries probably believes they got a shot at the national championship, or at least Sweet 16 or Elite 8 or something in his head. He's thinking we got a shot. So you don't sign the contract early, you sign it late, because it's going to be there either way, is from his point of view. I've seen a lot of people saying like it's a bad thing that he's not signed it. It means he's leaving. It does not mean that. It just means that he's this business. Why would you sign a contract right in the middle of us getting seeded in the tournament? And then that's the news everybody's talking about, rather than these kids and this accomplishment. So just keep that in mind as we move through there. Obviously, we talked about the newest projections from Lenardi and Palm. Both have us in the tournament. Palm has us in the play-in game. Lenardi has us as first four buys. We'll take it. And look, hopefully we don't end up in a play-in game, but we shall see. I want to talk about this really quick. Skylar Callahan wrote an article. I looked over it. This is 105-man roster as of today. And I wanted to say, we're going to have some people left off of here. I would have to deduce and look, because I don't think he has who's being cut, but he's got who's staying. And you can kind of just put 2 and 2 together, like, oh, that guy didn't make it. That guy didn't make it in that room. I'd have to have the full roster up next to it to actually see who didn't make it on here. And also, if I agree with some of these, I'll try to do it off the top of my head, but I do want to see who Skylar thinks will stick around. So let's look at that really quick as well, because Rich Rod has been talking about for weeks now the cut down to 105 scholarships. Some really good players are going to be left off here. Quarterback, he's got Nico, Jalen, Max, Khalil Wilkins, and Scotty Fox. That's all that's going to happen. We're not going to have anybody else that's not a walk-on. That's for sure. Jaheim White, Ty Edwards, L.J. Turner, Travion Dunbar, Dior Hubbard, which means, what's going to happen to some of those West Virginia kids? I don't know. I mean, they're already walk-ons, obviously, but will they go another route? I don't know. You've got 15 wide receivers at this point. Weimer, Vaughn, Gallagher, Bray, Fox, Williams, Darrell Williams, Oron Singleton Jr., Brandon Raymond, Gerard Bowie, Dom Collins, Cyrus Traw, TJ Johnson, Tyshawn Dews, Jalil Hall, and Amani Weaver. There's a lot of talent in that room. When I look at the room that way, there really is. Tight end, you got 6. Johnny Pascuzzi, Jackson Marco, Jacob Barrett, Greg Ginross, Noah Braham, and Jackson Aquarty. So, yeah, we got 14 O-linemen. I imagine that's going to grow. You got Cray, Walter Youngbear, Kimo Macaniole, Gavin Crawford, Robbie Martin, Cooper Young, Landon Livingston, Wyatt Minor, Brandon Hamidi, Tykees Crawford, Xavier Bosley, William Reed, and Philip Bowser and Jameer Davis. I could see one or two of those guys maybe being off of here and then some transfers coming in, but we'll see. 13 on the D-line, Jamori Robinson, Hammond Russell IV, Edward Vesterinen, Corey McIntyre, Nate Gabriel. I think those are all really good players, by the way. Elijah Kinsler, Sonny Redwood are that second next tier down. I think pretty obvious at this point in time. And then one down from that are Makai Bison. And the rest of the guys haven't played yet. But Adam Tomchek, I think he's going to got a chance to be at least on that Asani Redwood line this year, maybe one a notch above. We'll see. Braden Siders has had one of the best camps, guys. I've been told by multiple people. The Braden Siders, the not Wisconsin, but Wyoming transfer, who really, really pops on tape when you look at him as a pass rusher, the bandit spot. He's had a great camp. I don't know if that's because of our offensive line or if that's because of other things. But, guys, Braden Siders is going to be a player to watch, probably a starter day one if we bring nobody else in on the bandit to overtake him. Curtis Jones Jr., who played in the box linebacker at one point at bandit this year. I'm hearing good things about him as well. You got Oxley, Keenan Eck, who just come in, Obina Onwuka, Evan Powell, Orion Fisher from out of the state of Kentucky. We brought him in a few years ago. And Ramondo Johnson. So there's a lot of length and ability in that room. I like it. Ben Cutter at linebacker, we got 8. There was 8 at bandit as well. Linebacker, you got 8, which this counts for inside and outside linebackers. You got Ben Cutter, Ricky Williams, Chase Wilson, who I think is going to be an absolute stud this year. Ashton Woods, Reed Carrico, who is going to be a starter, I believe. Caden Beiser, Michael Hasty, and Cameron Torber, who is my sleeper. If you guys haven't heard me talk about Cameron Torber yet, Cameron Torber is out of Hoover in Alabama, that famous high school you've heard about. As a matter of fact, former offensive line coach for West Virginia, Matt Moore, used to coach there. Cameron Torber has the second or third most impressive tape of any high school recruit we brought in this year. If you haven't checked him out, guys, we signed him really late. I think it might be our very last signing on signing day as far as how late we got involved with him. Go check out Cameron Torber today. Not now, not yesterday, not tomorrow. Go check out Torber today on tape. He is so freaking impressive. I think he's got a chance to make an impact as a freshman. At corner, you've got Devontae Golden Nelson, Michael Coach Jr., Jacoby Spells, Derek Carter Jr., Keon Washington, Keyshawn Robertson, Jason Chambers, Zah Jackson, Dwayne Galloway, Charmarius Bomar, and Tyrell Russell. It's a pretty solid room, honestly. It's more solid than it's been in a few years. We got to get production out of the first 4 guys in this room, or we're going to have to add more for sure. Obviously, Devontae Golden Nelson, Michael Coach Jr., Jacoby Spells, Derek Carter Jr., I think are all going to be big here. At nickel, you got Fred Perry, Jordan Scruggs, and Zay Jennings. I've said multiple times, if Zay Jennings turns out and becomes just what I think he can become, guys, I really do have a lot of faith in those guys. I do. Fred Perry, Jordan Scruggs, and Zay Jennings have a chance to be one heck of a nickel trio. They do. Jordan Walker, 10 safeties, by the way. Jordan Walker, Justin Harrington, Kikora Tarnu, Israel Boyce, Jason Cross, Chris Henry, Sammy Etienne, Chris Filippo, William Davis, and Julian Horton. That room is pretty loaded too when you consider William Davis. Go look at his stats. 122 tackles, just incredible stats he had there at Virginia Union. You got Jordan Walker, Justin Harrington, who started at Oklahoma, is there. Kikora Tarnu, who was obviously at Jack State and came on strong at the end of last year. You got Cross, who transferred in. There's a lot of new blood in that room. I think it's got a chance to be good as well. You got 3 kickers: Ethan Head, RJ Cochan, and Casey Stanley. Punter, Ollie Straw, Luke Savino. Long snapper, McGuire Moss, and Caden Seller. So I think that's about right. I do think that there will be at least 10 of those guys not on the list come spring coming up, because we're going to have to get better in some spots, get some more depth. And Rich Rod is going to cut some players. We've already been told that's, a conversation that's going to happen. So we shall see. We shall see. I don't know. It's scary. So at the end of the day, is the guy that said Darren DeVries is going to Iowa out of here yet, or is he still here? Is that John Wapple? Goofball. All right, guys. So like I said, to recap, Darren DeVries has a contract extension on the table. They do think that he's going to revisit that. I forgot to mention that earlier. More than likely, he's going to have more demands now based on the leverage he's going to be in. I mean, it's just business, nothing personal here. I do believe he'll get more than what he's offered at this point in time. I don't know what that's going to be. I don't know if he wants years on the contract. I don't know if he wants money extended. I don't know if he wants, more up front or on the back, or I don't know if he wants more for Tucker, because that's probably going to be a bargaining in this as well. And then last but not least, NIL portion. I do think he's going to get what he wants NIL wise, and that's exciting. If we keep Darren DeVries, guys, it's because we got the NIL number that we all are going to be happy about. So let's hope that happens. Let's go ahead and pray that into power here, because we need that to happen. Thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen, guys, and being part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where we talk about the Mountaineers every single day. 7 days a week around here we try to record. I'm going to go eat some dinner at Mom's. Hopefully you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Obviously, if anything changes and West Virginia moves on to the bubble even further tonight, I'll probably do another video, but it'll probably be tomorrow more than likely. And I'll see you then, guys. Thank you all for showing up. We got almost 600 people in here, so that's pretty good for a Saturday. Better than I thought it was going to be. Hit the like button before you leave, please. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and share the video out. If you have time, please. Trying to grow. We're trying to get to that 5,000 mark, which is a big mark. And you guys, we've grown almost 2,000 since October. That's pretty daggone good, right? I really do think it's been good being with Locked On. It's really helped us grow, giving us some credibility. So it's good, man. I appreciate you guys for everything. It means a lot to me. This is my life. This is literally, I said this to somebody the other day, because you guys know my history. This is like the first success I've ever had. So whether that's sad or not, I don't know, but it's the truth. So thanks to you guys, I have that, and gives me something to wake up for and to work towards, because I'm a big believer in motivation-based living, right? If you're living in fear and you're running from something, you'll never see the thing you're supposed to be running towards. And I've always held that close to me, because I used to run away from things for years and years. And now I've got the Mountaineers to run to. Hopefully you do too. I'll see you guys on the next one. Have a great evening. Have a great weekend. Hopefully everybody's doing good. And I'll see you then. This episode's over, and I'm out of here. Have a do.